Hey guys, in this video, I've got my friend Miguel who is on today with us, and he's going to tell us how he got to the Philippines being unvaccinated. Not only unvaccinated, he's also blind, and he just arrived yesterday on October 1st. Let's get his story. All right. So, Miguel, thank you for coming on. I mean, you got kind of a crazy story. This is kind of wild. I will tell how we met. I know you initially reached out to me. You would listen to my vlogs, and you had me do a consultation with you. And your original plan, if I'm correct, was because you're unvaccinated, you were going to fly to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and just kind of wait till things opened, or you were going to attempt to come over here because it wouldn't be losing as much money because it's just a short flight, right?
Right. Yeah. So the idea was to go to Kuala Lumpur, which doesn't have any restrictions whatsoever. So you
Yes.
just fly in, and then I booked that hotel in Kuala Lumpur that you recommended for me for 3 days. Then I booked a flight on Cathay Pacific from Kuala Lumpur through Hong Kong because Hong Kong had just opened up that you didn't
Right.
need any vaccinations or anything to transit. So I booked through Hong Kong and then straight into Cebu because I didn't realize that Kuala Lumpur also you had to have an onward ticket when you landed. I
Right.
didn't I didn't know that. So that changed my plans up a little bit
Sure.
because I was going to try and book straight from Kuala Lumpur into Cebu. So I wouldn't have to go through Hong Kong because I didn't want to go near Hong Kong
Right.
because that was one of the places I was afraid of going.
I do want to mention to people who are listening and watching that you are legally blind. Is that correct?
Yes,
So,
at
honest.
least.
Well, for a lot of people, it's a frightening thing, just people who have never flown out of the country, just to leave the comfort of your country and the whole process of flying and going to a foreign country. And then you add on the fact that you were unvaccinated and it was a little bit of a gamble for you to come here. And then
Yeah.
the third thing being, blind. I mean, wow, you're a brave person to
Oh well,
to do all of
thanks.
that.
I definitely owe a lot to my mobility teacher. Shout out to Scott. He taught me how to use my cane, and
Hmm.
you know, for a couple of years, I'd just kind of been stuck in my house. Only going places I knew
Right.
and that I had memorized. And so I went to school to learn how to use a computer
Hmm.
with a voice reader. And
Okay.
they're like, you have to take a mobility class. And I'm like, I don't need a mobility class. I've been moving around all my life. And um, they made me take a mobility class. And yeah, it absolutely changed my life.
And you're glad you did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
So let's back up a little bit before we tell the story of your how you got here being unvaccinated. But
Okay.
your goal is it you've met somebody, you've met a Filipina online, is that correct?
That's true. Yes, sir.
Okay. Was that your main motivation to coming out to the Philippines then?
That wasn't my main motivation at first. It is now,
Okay.
if that makes any sense. I'd kind of
Yeah.
been planning the trip before Bianca and I met.
Hmm.
And then, it just happened to be that we got along really well and thought a lot the same. And it's just really clicked a lot
Okay.
for us. So, yeah, we're working it out
Okay.
and we'll
Good.
meet for the first time, well, in a couple of days.
Wow. So coming out here, let's back up. So you being unvaccinated, I think you had sent me some information on, was it Air Asia?
Yeah, Air Asia was the what I was looking to book out of Kuala Lumpur,
Hmm.
but I couldn't book it from the US.
Okay.
So I was looking to book it when I got into Kuala Lumpur
Okay.
because I didn't want to go through Hong Kong
Right.
because I was afraid they would mess with me.
Right. Okay, so tell us your journey here. So you had to do the test, because you're unvaccinated. I know one of the reasons you had reached out to me for the consultation was to help you book a hotel and fill out the One Health Pass online and
Yeah. The One
and
Health Pass, I tried to do that myself and it was not accessible, not
okay.
very accessible at all. So well, originally I had the flight to Kuala Lumpur, and
Hmm.
so I didn't need anything, right? And
Hmm.
when I booked through Korean Airlines, and Korean took my alias, let's say, because I go by Miguel and
Okay.
my legal name's Michael. Um, so when I'd flown with Delta like 12 years ago, long time ago, before you had to have ID to get on a plane, I guess,
Hmm.
because they had my name in there as Miguel, and as soon as I booked it, they switched the name from Michael to Miguel,
Hmm.
and I spent 3 weeks trying to switch it back,
Okay.
and they told me just show up at the airport and they'll switch it. Well, guess what they didn't do when I got to the airport at 3 in the morning on Thursday.
Right. You didn't
So
switch it. Yeah.
yeah, they wouldn't switch it. And then the guy on the phone's like, you're going to be waiting on hold for 3 hours. You're going to miss your plane. Um, he's like, I can get you on another one through Hong Kong and then into Kuala Lumpur. So I started thinking, and I'm like, well, if I'm going to Hong Kong, I might as well just
Hmm.
go straight into Cebu because I knew you could fly into Cebu from Hong Kong.
Right.
So I figured if I can get on the plane, I'll give that a shot. And then that's when I had to go take the PCR test. That was $250 at the airport. That was a
Wow.
bit of a gut punch.
Wow.
Yeah.
This has been
Um,
an expensive trip so far.
well, it was $1,800 for the rebooking.
Wow.
And
Okay.
then, but I'd already paid 1,400 from Kuala Lumpur to Hong Kong to Cebu anyway.
Hmm.
But it was a fully refundable ticket.
Okay.
So I just called up my travel agent, canceled that, and I basically ended up only paying $800 more and didn't
Okay.
have to spend 3 days in Malaysia.
Okay. Good. So you took the $250 RT-PCR test, and of course that came back negative. I helped you fill out the
Yes,
One Health Pass, and then what was it like
yes.
once you landed into Cebu?
Well, actually, that was one of the easiest parts. The crazy part was um,
Mhm.
because I did it so I took the test in the airport, right?
Right.
So luckily, they print everything out for you,
Okay.
right? So they printed out, they gave it to me after you did the One Health Pass for me. Then I had to go back home to my parents' house, print out the new hotel we booked, the One Health Pass. So we just printed everything out and had it in a folder, right?
Hmm.
I had the email from Cebu International Airport that they'd
Hmm.
sent me. I copied you on that
Yep.
said we do accept non-vaccinated. So I had that in the file for ammunition. Um, so yeah, I just had everything printed out nice and clear and ready to go. My onward ticket, which I did for 14 days, just to make sure, I paid the extra $14 or whatever it was, just to
Sure.
make sure I had it. Um, and so then I flew from Phoenix to Los Angeles, and I had to
Okay.
start the process all over again
Oh boy.
because I was switching airlines. So I went from American Airlines to Cathay Pacific.
Pacific. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And there was a gentleman with me between Phoenix and LA whose name was Michael also, who was
Hmm.
also coming to Cebu to marry his fiance.
Wow.
He was fully vaccinated and he'd been here in April already.
Okay.
And when we got to LA, they kicked him off the plane
Because what reason?
because of his negative test.
Yeah.
He had it on his phone, a picture of it on his phone, and it
Hmm.
didn't show the date that he took it. So
Oh,
they totally kicked him off the plane for that.
but if he was fully vaxxed, he with a booster shot, then you're not supposed to need any kind of
Oh,
test. Did
he didn't
did
have the booster. Sorry.
Oh,
I
that's
meant
why,
he had the vaccine,
but
but
no
no
booster.
booster.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good information
So
for,
yeah, he got kicked off the plane, which sucked. He was a real nice
yeah.
guy, retired corrections officer, really good guy.
Uh-huh.
We had a good conversation. And then on the way to Hong Kong, that was a pretty nice flight. It was long.
Hmm.
And when I got to Hong Kong, the weirdest thing was there were no bathrooms.
Hmm.
You had to sign up for the lounge to be able to
Weird.
use a bathroom.
Wow.
Luckily that they loaded me up within an hour from
Okay.
Hong Kong to Cebu. And then when I got to Cebu, everything went pretty easily. The
Okay.
only thing that they didn't look at my onward ticket. They didn't care about that.
Okay.
When I told them I was unvaccinated, they didn't blink an eye. They're like, okay. They
Wow.
put two stickers on my passport. They said this sticker's for today, this sticker's for 5 days from now. And so they made me retake another swab
Uh,
test.
Swab test there. Okay. How much did that
So,
cost?
oh, that was $20,
Big difference from the $250. Huh?
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hadn't changed my money yet or anything.
Uh-huh.
So they just took 20 American dollars and brought me back change.
Huh.
So they were very, very helpful. Just super awesome. Um, it took a little while to get done, but it got done. And then they sent me off to the hotel in a taxi. I was able to pay for the taxi with a credit card through the hotel.
Okay.
Um, they didn't have my room ready, so they sat me in the uh, restaurant, and I ate a nice lunch.
At the
And
Savoy
then
Hotel in Cebu.
yeah, at the Savoy Hotel.
Wow.
So I'm supposed to be quarantining, right? I'm just hanging
Right.
out in the restaurant eating lunch, and again, super super nice people. And then they
Wow.
brought me up here and told me I couldn't leave.
So you got 5 days, and then what is the process after the 5 nights? Did they tell you?
Oh, so that was yeah, they said that they'll come out to the hotel. They can come out at any time. So
Hmm.
basically they're like, you better be in your room whenever we show up, right?
Hmm.
uh, to make sure that I guess people don't like go swimming
Right.
or
Right.
whatever. So they're going to show up at it just any time. They wouldn't tell me when.
Okay.
And I probably have to pay another $20
For the
for that
swab.
swab test. And then and so this was the next thing I was gonna talk to you about. So once I get swabbed,
Hmm.
then I have to go into my One Health Pass
Okay.
to see if I can leave the next day. So
Sure.
I was gonna ask you if you could help
Hmm.
me log on to the One Health Pass on day 6 to see if I'm allowed to leave.
Of course. Yeah, no problem. So, so I mean, it really seems, other than some problems that really didn't have to do with being vaccinated or unvaccinated, it seems like it was a pretty smooth process, no different than if you were
Yeah,
to
it really
be
was.
vaccinated. It's just
Yeah, it really was.
you have to be willing to quarantine for 5 nights, basically. That's
Yes.
the catch. So,
Which 2 years
how,
ago I was willing to do 14 days. So 5 nights
right,
is
right. I remember
that's
that.
easy time.
That's yeah. Now, I'm going to ask you a silly question. Maybe I'm ignorant on this, but when it comes to like paying your bills with a credit card and stuff, are you just is this kind of a trust factor that you just have to trust that the amount they are putting on the card is the correct amount? I mean, how would you know if they accidentally charged an extra night by accident or something like that?
But that's the great thing about the credit card is because
Okay.
so I use Capital One
Okay.
right now, and I have USAA,
I have
and
USAA too. I like
both
them.
Yeah, and both are online, and
Hmm.
both websites are totally, absolutely accessible.
Excellent. Okay.
So
So you can access
all
right
my
away.
statements
You
are
you'll
digital.
know. You'll know
Yeah,
what the exact
I'd
charge.
at least know by the time I went to pay my bill.
Right.
If,
Okay.
if it was too high, I'd be like, "What happened?" And I can,
Okay.
yeah, I just tab through it and it reads the whole thing to me. Yeah,
Now
Capital
the
One and USA do a real good job.
now the Philippines being a cash society, everything's pretty much cash. So when you
Yeah,
take out the pesos, at that point, do you just need somebody's help, like Bianca's help, just to trust that she's giving you the right change, or the person at the cash register is giving you the right change? I mean, I don't know what the
that's what it's
Mer
going to have to be. Yeah, it's
have
going to
to
have to
be.
be, well, a little bit of trust but verify.
Hmm.
So usually what I did when I went to, so I spent 6 weeks in Mexico City at the beginning of this year.
Okay.
And the pesos there are all different sizes. So like if you have a
So
500 peso note, it's bigger than the 200 peso note, which is bigger than the 100 peso note, right?
a bit easier.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that was very, very easy. And
Okay.
the people there were really, because I remember I paid with pesos and I overpaid just because I'd made a mistake, and the
Hmm.
guy gave me the change back, and I went back and I'm like, no, you gave me too much change, and he refused to take it. He's like, no, there's no, I'm not taking any more money. Take your pesos back. So I uh, as far as culture goes, I've had really good luck with people, you know,
Hmm.
um, being good people.
Being honest
So
and good people. Okay.
yeah,
What the
so I have
what?
to figure out something with these pesos though, because they're definitely not different sizes.
No.
But what I'll do is I'll just break 100 at a time,
Hmm.
and I'll know exactly how much I have,
Sure.
and I'll get like all 100 peso notes or something like that.
Okay. And then you'll know what you have in
It,
your pocket.
yeah, I
Okay.
don't know what the coins are yet, but I'll figure that out. But yeah, I'm
Now,
sure Bianca will help me out with that.
and with dollars, since they're all the same size, is there a different texture? Somebody had said there's a different texture to it, or how do you?
Sometimes there is,
Okay.
but it's not reliable. But I
Okay.
do have I have a little device
Hmm.
that I brought with me because I was hoping it would be able to read the pesos, but I can read you slide the bill into the device and it'll
Okay.
say that's $100 bill, that's a $20 bill, that's a $50 bill.
Oh, wow. Well, and
Um,
at least with the United States or other Western countries, pretty much wherever you go is now you can just do it all with your card, you know.
yes,
But
which is helpful.
the Philippines is still pretty much a cash society, almost like it's like you've gone back in time when you go to the Philippines to the
Back to the
1980s.
1980s. Yeah.
So even the music and everything, it's just like getting a time machine and going back to 1985.
That's what it
So
reminds me of. I'm kind of
yeah,
worried about the ATMs because the ATMs in the US, they have to have braille, they have to have
right,
where you can plug in your headset and it'll
right.
talk to you.
Yeah,
But
now that I think of it, I've never seen Braille on the ATMs here.
yeah,
Okay.
so my plan is to go into the bank and hopefully get it through the teller.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's the first thing I'm gonna try. But I
Sure.
brought cash with me, enough cash that I can get through a little bit of time without
Okay.
having to take out of an ATM.
And how long are you going to be here in the Philippines?
At least till the end of February, if not the end of March. I might
Wow. Okay.
leave the beginning of March to go and spend that little bit of time in Kuala Lumpur.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a very modern city in English
You're headed
speaking.
there the end of
No,
the month?
end of November, probably.
Oh, end of
Yeah.
November. Okay.
Yeah, end of November. So, well, this has been really Interesting, Miguel. I mean, honestly, you're probably the first person I think I've ever interviewed, who's blind. So thank you for the interview. I appreciate it. And just again, it fascinates me because you won't believe how many people they talk about coming to the Philippines, but some of them are just so comfortable in their life, and some of them don't. They're nervous about traveling or whatever. You've you know, tackled a few obstacles on your travels. So
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing to me.
Well, I really
Anyway,
enjoy your channel, and you were a huge help. You were very instrumental. I really appreciate everything you did.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, thank you, Miguel. And we'll go ahead.
Come on, can you groove along? I said, baby, I know you're on a roll. Sweet honey, let's take it real slow.